And so you're doing the show every night with your pals and stuff, and every day you're thinking this is going to be the last show. There's no way I could keep this going, right?
Oh, well, you know, every day was a gamble. I mean, it really was, because, I mean, they were trying to find us with triangulations and all kinds of stuff. And it was really impossible for them to do it because of the radio relay guys. I mean, we were on 3 hours only, you know, during that window of opportunity. So, I mean, they tried. I mean, they tried real hard. But here's why we stopped. The military police, the OSI, Office of Special Investigation, the military, these guys, a lot of them were our friends. They knew about us. They were encouraging the show to, get on the air. So when they got to a point to where their supervisors were saying, look, there's no reason in the world that you're not finding these guys unless you're implicated with him. And they started getting a lot of pressure. And I'll never forget it as long as I live. A very good friend of mine in the OSI office comes up to me and says, Dave, you got to stop. He says, because if you don't, we're all going to go down. And I said, okay, that's it. And that's when we stopped.
So they protected you for as long as they could until it was obvious they were protecting you.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow, that's an amazing story. And you come back and you live your life. You go 37 years and you start up again. And did you know that there were so many recordings of your show floating around, like different shows, or did you only have one copy yourself?
Well, you know, we found a reel-to-reel that was some trooper found in his. It's kind of like Opie found in his little box and stuff. This guy had a reel-to-reel. He had an old TIAC, and we basically paid him money to transfer it into a digital format for him. Wow. And the ones that we have right now on the Dave Rabbit site, the pod site, which is daverabbit.podomatic.com, has the remastered version of the entire show. And plus we've got, you know, the Iraq show, which I did as 35th anniversary with a new team. But yeah, there's over 500 bits of Dave Rabbit stuff on that site. Because I can't put everything on AboveTopSecret.com because we're G-rated.
Right. Yeah, right.
We're a family site. I can't put a lot of the Dave Rabbit material there.
So,
but, you know, those guys that really like that kind of stuff, there's a ton of it on the daverabbit.podomatic.com site.
What are you doing now as far as your podcast? What kind of show you're doing?
Well, it's about what we are, which is our ecosystem that was created by the genius Simon Gray, who was the founder of AboveTopSecret.com. We lovingly call them the Three Amigos. And basically, it's about alternative subjects such as conspiracy theories, 9/11 conspiracy theories, UFOs, aliens. I mean, just anything that you can imagine that would be a topic of conspiracy or whatever would be what we're talking about. I mean, they have weaponry, resources and uploads, really above top secret societies. It's just a smorgasbord, if you will, of every alternative topic you can possibly think of.
Is it kind of like, I'm sorry to interrupt, Dave, is it kind of like a coast-to-coast, like Art Bell's type subject?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because in my respects to George and Art Bell and those guys over at Coast to Coast, but what we do is we take the same subjects, but instead of being there like two squirrels going 69, which is exciting for a few minutes and then it kind of loses its appeal, we put levity and humor and put a lot more at ease with our guests, and we just have a good time. We rock and roll when we get with our people. We rock. We give them a little taste of Dave Rabbit, but on a FCC compliant basis, if you know what I mean.
Very nice. Well, Dave, we definitely have to take a break here. This was a pleasure, though.
It's great talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I have to tell you guys were an inspiration. We just donated $25,000 to the Girl Scout organization for their new drive to sell garlic butter sauce.
Hey, can you do a little Dave Rabbit as we go to break here, or what?
Oh, sure, yeah. You want to just to do a typical outro here?
Yeah, sure.
All right, listen, on behalf of the Opie and Anthony show here in New York City, this is Dave Rabbit. Peace.
All right, thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Good luck, buddy.
We'll be in touch, all right?
Brother.
All right, there he goes, Dave Rabbit.
Guy's a 21-day legend.
Yes, amazing.
That's what I'm saying.
And it lasted that long.
Yeah.
Cool story.
Absolutely. Why don't we go back in time? Dave Rabbit, Vietnam, 1970, doing the underground radio show that we just discussed for the last few minutes.
Good evening. This is Air Force Sergeant Dave Rabbit.
And this is Nugent.
With tonight's news. In Washington today, President Nixon was officially charged in connection with the My Lai massacre. Although the president was nowhere near Vietnam at the time, higher-ranking officials are positive that there is some connection. What, however, they aren't sure of. No comment from the president was available. Nugent?
In Alabama, Governor George Wallace is announced as his running mate for the presidential election as H. Rap Brown. Rap was not available for comment, but his associates say it's the happiest day of his life.
A blissful event has occurred for Tiny Tim and his wife, 19-year-old Miss Vicky. They have announced the coming birth of their first child. When asked about the nervous tension and stress of having a first child, Tiny Tim stated that he's sure he'll have no problem giving birth the first time. He also stated that the baby will be breastfed. Miss Vicky also said that Tiny will have to have his chest shaved so the baby won't gag on the hairs.
Finally in the news, Lyndon Johnson was arrested in his Texas home for indecent public exposure after he led a group of Vietnam protesters down Main Street. Johnson was also cited on 10 counts of public vulgarity and 1 count for shooting the finger at an Air Force officer. Preliminary hearing dates have not been set yet.
And that's the news. This is Air Force Sergeant Dave Rabbit.
And Nugent.
Wishing you a very good evening.
The voice of news, information, and hard acid rock music. This is Radio First Termer at 69 megacycles on your FM dial.
Wow.
They're little pieces of history. It's pretty cool, you know?
Absolutely.
Hearing the, what was going on back then, them goofing on it.
Anthony from Boston, do you think Good Morning Vietnam's Robin Williams is based on Dave Rabbit? Absolutely not.
No, Adrian Cronauer, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
he was around the same time, obviously, but Dave Rabbit was doing his own thing. Very, very different, actually, because Robin Williams, the character he played was high energy. This guy was all about just kind of sounding or being stoned.
I've had a few requests for some pictures of myself. So some of you people wanted to hang some on your walls or in the latrines or something. But to tell you the honest-to-God truth, I have really no pictures of myself that can be made into posters. However, I do have one picture that some of you might want. It's a picture of myself and my ex-girlfriend going in her bathtub. Now, if you'd like a copy of this, which is blown up, by the way, into an 8x10 glossy colored photograph, just drop me a card to Dave Rabbit, Pornographic Picture Poster, APO in Country, 96969, and I'll try to get one to you. More music now. Donovan, hurdy-gurdy man.
Man. Hurdy-gurdy man.
He was making up all this crap, because who would want a picture of him? He only broadcast for 3 weeks. You know?
Although he's probably getting a lot of letters on me. He had 20-something million people.
He probably that guy would make an impact pretty quickly with the soldiers, I think.
Yeah.
Mouthing off like that about stuff.
Cornball radio they were used to.
Yeah.
And then he's just dropping F-bombs,
Yeah.
taking a dump.
Talking about screwing his girl and the whores, and it's good stuff.
In answer to some of your questions as what the base commander thinks of me, here are his exact words.
If I ever meet that son of a bitch, I'm going to walk up and I'm going to hit that right square in the goddamn teeth. More than once.
Would you believe that's what the base commander thinks of me and my nasty ways? Tisk, tisk, tisk. You, sir. Notice I emphasize the word sir. He has an inferiority complex. I mean, after all, anybody that dresses up in women's dresses and carries a velvet purse has to be a little bit weird.
What a set, man.
No kidding. All right, we got to take a break. We're real late, but there you go. Dave Rabbit. That was very, very interesting. It's Opie and Anthony. Stay there.